Hi everyone, it's Jody from An Eye for Beauty. I hope you're feeling well. Today is Sunday, January 16th, 2022, and this is our weekly angel reading for this week or whenever it is you're hearing this message. 3 cards have been pulled, so decide if you'd like to go with card number 1, card number 2, or card number 3. And we're going to start with card number 1. And card number 1 is self-forgiveness. And it says, let go of the old so that the new can come in. Let go of old guilt. Let go of old feelings from the past. Because what happens is when you sit in the past, you stay stuck. It's hard to get into the present if you're sitting in the past. And a lot of times we sit and when we're thinking, we're in our heads a lot, we think about things that we could have done better, things that maybe we shouldn't have said, shouldn't have done. And what ends up happening is we get in this pattern of guilt, of shame. And this card is saying it's time to forgive yourself. We all have a journey and we all have to walk through these different experiences in order for learning and in order for growth. And if you chose card number 1, it's time to work on forgiving yourself because you did nothing wrong. You did what you thought was necessary in the time, in the present moment. I think that in the entire world, as a human consciousness, we are all individually working on levels of self-forgiveness. So if you're hearing this card, you might be thinking, I don't need to forgive anything. But maybe if you sit quietly and think to yourself, is there something, some thought pattern, some belief, some action you took, something you said, where you're holding yourself in a shackle of shame or guilt, and you're maybe, once you notice it, as a witness, without judgment, ready to give yourself a little bit of forgiveness. Jesus Christ is the master of forgiveness. So no matter what your religion is, call upon Jesus and ask him to help you work through forgiveness. If you look at his teachings, he taught about forgiveness. Knowing that in our experience as a human on this earth, we all go through things where maybe we say something we shouldn't have said or we act in a way that we shouldn't have acted. But holding yourself in the shackle of guilt and of shame doesn't serve you. So can you offer yourself a little bit of forgiveness today and every day thereafter? Card number 2 is tranquility. So as a human collective, we're working on self-forgiveness. We are also hopefully beginning to work on taking care of the self. And this card of tranquility is asking you to spend more time meditating or being still, being quiet with yourself, giving yourself the opportunity for self-care. Take a walk in the park, in nature, do some yoga. Have a cup of tea. Just sit and have a cup of tea. Or when you're drinking your coffee in the morning, you're not doing other things. You're sitting quietly, being still with that cup of coffee. That is meditative. Maybe taking an Epsom salt bath. You need self-care if you chose card number 2. You need to take better care of yourself. You might be taking care of everybody else around you, but you're not taking care of yourself. If you chose card number 2, it's time for you to take care of you first. And then we have card number 3, and it's interesting because I didn't realize we have these 2 cards from this deck, and the third card is from actually a different deck, but there's a reason, I gather. And it's an upside down card, which means pay attention. And it's the energy of true love. So this card is always about, let me show you the card again. She's looking at the reflection of herself in the mirror. So this card is not about you finding your true partner or your true love. This is about you finding true love within yourself. And the best and highest relationship you can have in the idea and energy of true love is with the self. And I've been saying this a lot for the last 2 years, but the pandemic that we walked through partly was due to the fact that we are not connected with ourselves We are so busy doing everything else that we forget to take care of ourselves. We forget to go inward. We forget to listen to our intuition, listen to the self. We're always looking outside of ourselves to better ourselves, when in the end, if you took yourself inward, that is the best thing that you could do for yourself. And in going inward and getting to know yourself more than anything else around you is the deepest connection to love that you can have. And once you can develop that connection truly with self, in true love, loving yourself, then you're able to do that with every other relationship, situation, experience in your life. And something just came in. Can you look in the mirror and say to yourself, I love you, and put your name there? Does it feel weird? Or are you able to do it with no problem? That is something that Louise Hay, she actually has a book, I think it's called Mirror, Mirror. And if you're someone that struggles with that and you chose card number 3, maybe it's time for you to start putting that into practice daily. Looking in the mirror and telling yourself, I love you. Not berating yourself, not saying you're ugly, not saying your hair looks terrible, not saying you're fat, not saying all the mean things that you might say to yourself. But instead, can you begin to look in the mirror and tell yourself you truly love yourself? And maybe in the beginning of doing that, you might have a hard time with it and it might be uncomfortable. But the more that you do it, the more it just becomes you. And I tell you this from experience. It's something that in the past was very uncomfortable and I have no problem doing now. So can you do that for yourself? Can you forgive yourself? This whole reading on January 16th of 2022 is about you, is about yourself, is about no longer condemning yourself, forgiving yourself, taking good care of yourself, speaking kindly to yourself, having respect for yourself, doing good for yourself. Because I want you to think about this before we end, is if you look at the environment that we live in today in the world, anyone that is projecting, yelling at others, it's because of how they feel inside of themselves. And if everybody would take more time taking care of, looking inward, noticing their feelings, acknowledging their feelings, taking care of their feelings, we would have less negativity and hate and anger in the world. So can you do your part today and love yourself more? I hope that this message served you today, and I wish you a great week. Bye-bye.